Welcome Under Oath with Jeff Kaufman, a show where we make the law easier for people, and we also talk to a celebrity or two. Sitting next to me is James John.
Gotcha.
James John's going to hit me up with some legal questions. James Johns is a fantastic nationwide touring comedian who is right about to get on a cruise boat.
I am.
To amuse some people who were around when The Love Boat was a #1 show.
He means they're slightly older.
They are fantastically aged.
That's what I mean. Like fine wine.
Yes.
All right. I love this, man. I get to ask you legal questions. Legally screwed, my friend. This is a pretty good one here. My 2-year-old son is enrolled at a daycare where they've lost his seizure medication, which is a controlled substance, and not Tylenol, both labeled with his name and prescribed by his neurologist. Every time I ask about it, the director gives vague responses, but doesn't take action to find it. I'm very concerned about their negligence and lack of urgency. Who should I speak with? And should I look into legal action?
Okay, let's be straightforward with this. They lost the kids' meds.
Yes.
Okay. Now, depending on how expensive those meds are, here are my options. If it's under a certain amount, I could file in small claims court.
Okay. All right. That's one way to go.
Unless your medication is above a certain amount, and every state is different. Some are 300, some are 600, some are 1,000.
Yes.
Okay. If it's under a certain amount, you could file for it. I guarantee they would eventually just write you a check afterwards.
Here you go.
What is your actual concern is the issue. And I think her concern is they didn't respect her child. God forbid my child would have had a problem.
Yes.
If she's trying to find this medication because she can't replace it, then you have to go to the small claims court.
Okay.
They lost it.
Yes.
Now here's the thing. Negligence is when you had a duty, meaning an obligation.
Okay.
To do something or not do something. In this situation, their obligation was to keep the medication safe.
Yes.
Not to lose it.
Yeah.
So obviously they didn't do it. So the medication's lost.
Yes.
It's clear it's lost. The person you talk to, they don't want to. What if you told them, hey, it's lost? What's going to happen? I mean, we're not talking about, you didn't win the lottery here.
No, you didn't.
Your kid didn't suffer a seizure unless he did. I mean, that could have happened too.
Yeah. And that's where I think the concern comes from as a parent.
Well, here's where it comes.
Yeah.
It's like an EpiPen.
My son has EpiPen.
Okay.
Peanut allergy.
Right.
Yeah.
If you went in there and they lost the EpiPen.
I would lose it.
Okay. But what would you do? You're a parent. What would you say to them?
I would. Okay, first off,
God forbid something happened. I'm so offended. It's been bothering me for years. In fact, I had a heart attack and had to go to the hospital.
Yeah. I'm suing for damages emotional. I learned that.
My feelings.
No. See, okay. If my son, which he does have an EpiPen for a peanut allergy, if you lose it, I am terrified. Here's why. Heaven forbid he comes in contact with a peanut.
It could have happened.
One time.
What could have happened? That's what I mean. That's what they say.
Okay.
People are always, and everybody out there, God, people, how about be grateful?
What do you mean? Explain.
Okay. It didn't happen. What should you do? Okay, complain. Okay, you complained.
Okay.
I didn't get my apology. What if they said, hey, we're sorry? Would that have been enough?
No. Hear me out first.
I'm trying to hear
me out. Apologize, yes. And then tell me.
What if they meant it?
Well, let me tell you, though. Let me explain. Apologize, yes. And then tell me as a parent what steps you're going to take to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Okay, we had it in the refrigerator.
Yes.
It was in the refrigerator.
Understood.
Or it was in the lockbox.
Got it.
We don't know what happened.
I don't want to hear that. That's not going to make me feel warm and fuzzy.
Okay.
Tell me what you're going to do now to make sure it doesn't happen again.
You tell me a good precaution.
Okay.
Should they have a safe?
Here's what I say. There should be one person in charge of signing out and signing in medication as it goes in wherever they keep it.
It's a crap daycare. You got one lady watching 20 kids.
Yeah.
Which is typically what it looks like.
Okay.
Okay. So it's not my job. I mean, think about it this way. I'm not a medical facility.
Okay.
I have one kid with a peanut allergy. We put it here. We've always put it here. I need to be able to get this within a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So let's say I lock it up and I can't open the damn thing. Kid dies.
You're in trouble.
You're going to be in trouble anyway.
There's
There's no way to win this one.
In trouble. Yes.
Okay. The medication was lost. Most likely in this situation, it was taken.
Well, that's the other part.
Okay. So now my concern is that there's some dude taking seizure medication.
Yes.
What we have in our society and I'm a lawyer. I represent people.
Mm-hmm.
I fight people. I'm an accident attorney. I know people when they hear that, they go, oh, until you're at the accident.
Yeah.
Until you're the one who can't walk correctly anymore.
That's correct. Yes.
Until you're the one who can't think. I have clients who were teachers who now have migraines 24/7.
Okay.
And their option is brain surgery. And that doesn't fix things.
Mm-mm.
And then they walk around, if they can walk,
Mm-hmm.
suffering for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
And people ask, well, what about small car accidents? Okay. So I was out of work for 6 months because somebody else made that mistake. And everyone hates us or hates people who do this until they're the ones in the accident.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there are people out there who delude themselves and think that they got in an accident and they're going to win the lottery because of stupid billboards.
It doesn't work. Gotcha.
But in the end, in a situation like this, I'm going, okay, I have a small daycare. They take care of my kid, which is a huge responsibility.
Yes, it is.
And my kid has some problems. For example, my kid's on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
And Jacob needs 24-hour watching.
Mm-hmm.
He can't be alone.
There's
no alone ever.
At all.
No alone ever. And sometimes family members of mine go, oh, this person seems like a stoner who's watching him. I'm going, do you know how hard it is to find somebody to watch my kid when I'm not here?
Yes.
You know, I have to be out there making enough money so that when I die, he's taken care of. I can't be at home watching him.
No, you can't.
So I have to make this money and I have to pay somebody else to do it. And there's no Mary Poppins walking around taking care of things.
No.
So there are people out there who are doing your job because you need to do a job.
That's correct.
So yes, do I want somebody who looks like they smoke when they're not on duty watching Jacob? It doesn't make me feel great.
No, not warm and fuzzy.
But at the same time, I have to learn, okay, if he's stoned while driving my son, we got a problem.
That's different.
Now, they lost the medication. Obviously, I know it's lost. When do I drop it?
When they act like they care and they act like they're not going to do it again?
They listen to you. I can't guarantee it's not going to happen again.
Gotcha.
I can't make promises like that. And worse than that, I'm admitting to you that I did something wrong.
Yeah.
Now, if the medication is cheapo and it's not expensive and you could redo it for like $20,
I would understand that.
Okay.
But
now,
EpiPens,
if it's 600,
yeah.
How much is an EpiPen? 30?
Okay, let me tell you. Without insurance, $600 for two. With insurance, it can cost anywhere between nothing or what we pay, like $60 or $70.
I don't want to say something, and I'm going to say it.
Oh, okay, here we go.
You pharmaceutical companies are absolute whores.
Yeah.
You are absolute whores.
Yeah.
I can't imagine these things run more than $1 or $2 a piece. You're not talking about medication that isn't available.
It is available.
You're talking about something that was, I mean, how long have they been around? The same medications.
Forever.
So it's not like this is a brand new med.
No.
I'm sure they even have generic versions of it.
They do.
And you're going to charge $600 for a needle that
saves a life.
God, I'm sorry. This is so frustrating. Okay. And I'm going to say something right now while I'm going off on this one.
Okay.
We have people who complain. They want to find you wrong with every word you say.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get emotional during these shows.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say something and they'll go, and they won't wait till the next word that I screwed up on.
No.
And they'll go, oh, he said this and this. Oh, what an idiot. Okay. There are a lot of things I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've represented around 55,000 people in my life with all my different firms. And
yeah.
I have seen a lot. And I can tell you this, there is no way in the world you can justify a $600 EpiPen.
No.
Now, this is what somebody's going to say before you write that comment. It's because a lawyer is suing because EpiPens go bad. Well, the reason why lawyers sue when EpiPens go bad is because somebody died because somebody tried to save some money on making a crappy EpiPen.
There you go.
And it is almost impossible for a lawyer to succeed in a case that involves a medical instrument because basically the laws protect them on an ugly level.
They do.
It's harder to prove a case in cases like this.
Yeah.
So anybody who's charging $600 for an EpiPen is full of crap because here's the thing. Uses the same injector as the ones they use for Ozempic. And those things, and we know Ozempic's expensive.
Yes, it is.
Like, what's it? I think it's $365 a month. So every shot there is conservatively $90. But somehow an EpiPen that has been around forever
Yeah.
Is $300 a piece? You know why? Because the government and insurance companies are paying the subsidies on these things. So that's why, because they can charge it.
That's right.
I think the government should say, hell no after a while.
No.
After 50 years, or let's say your product's been out 30 years, you can only charge this much.
That's correct.
So as far as what you can do, if it was an expensive medication and they refuse to pay it, go to small claims court.
Gotcha.
Outside of that, say to them, hey, listen, you lost my thing. And do exactly what you said your concern was. It's not a lot of money. But what are we going, is there something you can put in place for the future to help ensure this might not happen? Not to guarantee it won't happen, but might not happen.
Yes.
Because when you say, what can guarantee this won't happen again? Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing guarantees something can't happen again. But if you put it like this, is there anything we can do to kind of help this maybe
not
limit this
again.
happen again? And if you put it in that way, the person might go, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for understanding that we can't run everything perfect. And you're not mad. You just are hoping for better in the future.
Yes, because you care about your child.
Because you care about you, and you care about other people's child, and you respect what they do, and you're willing to, give up whatever hostility you have. With the hope that it may not happen again. And that's how we're decent to each other. I'm suing for $1 million.
Only $1.3 million.
Ugh. Two attorneys arguing. The problem is they say we don't argue enough.
Do we argue really?
We don't. They say we don't argue enough. People want us angry.
Over the years, you've learned not to argue with me, as I've won, 98% of the arguments we've ever been in?
Delusional. So Casey Anthony. Now, here's the thing. You and I, Casey Anthony found not guilty of premeditated murder. Now, you and I as lawyers know that. Now, here, I wouldn't call it a hot take because it makes me seem old. But here's the deal. Anybody who's upset about the verdict in the Casey Anthony trial is an idiot. Absolute idiot. And now you're looking at me, Jeff, you don't understand. No. You know why I don't understand? Because I understand the law. And you know who blew that case? The prosecutor's office. Because they said, hey, guess what? Jury, we're only going to give you one option. And the option is premeditated murder. That was it. They didn't allow it to go down.
No, you know what?
They had so many different options, and they blew it.
Here's what I think happened. They couldn't drop the case, but they knew they couldn't prove first-degree murder. So they let the charge stand because they're going to they were using the jury to let them off the hook.
Oh, scapegoat.
Yes.
No.
Yes. The jury did it.
Did you see that guy?
It is the jury's fault that they didn't convict Casey Anthony.
Now, a lot of people in the Casey Anthony case weren't even aware of what happened. They gave one charge, and then they had the check cashing charge where she forged the checks. And I go, where's the child neglect case? Why don't you allow them to find lesser included? Because the fact was this, we didn't know how she died. There was no idea. She could have died in the pool.
Yeah.
So you can't say it's premeditated murder. And people are going to go, well, they checked her internet search.
See, that's why I think the prosecutor didn't really want her to be sent to prison, because he knew that he couldn't prove that she did anything evil or criminal. At best, he probably thought this was just a case of neglect like he sees all the time, and that doesn't get people
unlawful
sent
disposal
to prison
of a body. There's
for
a
20
lot
years.
of things. They could have charged her with 10, 20. And the weirdest thing is, we started our careers off in criminal defense before we became personal injury attorneys. Now, you and I both know there was never one charge on a felony. There's 30. It was like, brrr, and then they would negotiate it out.
Yes, usually that's negotiating leverage. They charge as many.
One charge. I would have danced. I would have been doing this. Hey, I didn't even have to say anything during the trial. Watch, every question would have been like this. How'd she die? We don't know. How'd she die?
How did she die?
I don't know. How'd she die? I don't know.
You don't know either? No.
You don't know either?
I've been asking this the whole time, but no one's
So
been
they're
able to
saying it's premeditated murder, but we don't know if the child was murdered. I win. I don't have to do anything. It was the laziest lawyering you've ever saw. Now, all they had to do was add this stuff in, and the judge in this case, he was throwing time at her like it was candy. Here, have some more candy. Like the check cashing thing. He goes, oh, we're going to run that consecutive. I mean, it was awesome. If child neglect would have been in there, or lesser included as something else, she would have done 5 years prison minimum. They would not have paroled her. She had been camped out there.
Yeah, that was a Very famous case all over the country. Everyone was talking about it. It was almost as famous as the OJ case.
Now, here's something. The reason why we bring up Casey, and it's been so long ago, is she's decided, you know what? I've hidden enough. I'm coming out.
So she's making even more improper choices in her life. Surprise, surprise.
Well, I don't know. She wasn't punished. She was found not guilty. Should you just go away and hide?
Well, yes.
What do you mean, yes? I have rights. This is America.
No.
America.
Yeah, it's America, and that's why you're not in prison, because the state couldn't prove that you did something wrong. But everybody who looks at you,
not guilty,
they know you did something wrong.
The OJ
even
rule.
If the state can't prove
OJ didn't leave the golf course.
We know you did something wrong.
OJ was in the clubs.
Ostracized. Yeah, but OJ could buy his friends.
OJ murdered 2 people.
Casey Anthony didn't have any money to buy friends with.
Now, I don't know. There are things that I'm not willing to do for money, but I think Casey Anthony can make a ridiculous amount of money.
She comes out and creates a TikTok video, and hey, I'm coming out. I'm, like you said, I'm not hiding anymore. I'll answer all questions. I'm an advocate for 2 things: an advocate for child somewhere safety or something or another. And this is the one that got me. A advocate, a member of the LGBTQ community.
They don't want her. Would they add a letter M for murder?
Did you ask them if they were going to accept you?
LGBTQM for murder?
I don't think they want to give her. I don't think they want you in the club.
They're going to go, here, you can have your own letter.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to give her a letter. I think they're going to say, no, you know what? We will discriminate. You have finally found the one area where we will actually discriminate against you, and that's if you killed your kid somehow or were so neglectful that your kid died because of how neglectful you were. Then that, can they draw the line there? Are they allowed to draw a line anywhere? The LGBTQ,
I have questions.
LMNOP?
I have questions. I admit it. If I had the opportunity to interview her, I'd want to know how life's gone.
You should try to interview her.
She won't interview. No.
She not?
She's not an idiot. Well,
so
then again, she might be.
Careful. So everyone who interviewed with you is an idiot?
No, she's not an idiot in the sense that I would ask questions that she wouldn't want to answer.
Well,
but they'd be more human questions. I'd ask questions like, you've been since the trial. I can't imagine, who online dating with you.
Who goes to the grocery store for her? She's got to eat, right?
She probably
go to restaurants.
She lives in South Florida. It's Central Florida. She wouldn't have a chance. South Florida, nobody cares there. OJ lived there. That's why he walked. OJ was walking around there.
I promise you, we need to do a follow up like in a year, see where she is on this show. Like 1 year. Can you mark it, Dave? Like a year, a follow up, see where she is. What does she do with her TikTok, Instagram account, and all of that? See where she is. Be very interesting. I don't think this is going to fly for her. I don't think people are going to rally around her. I don't think she's making the comeback in her head that she thinks she's going to.
I think I disagree. I got 2 words: murder porn. People love it.
All right, so here's the quote. The presumption of innocence is a sacred right afforded to all individuals arrested in this country. This is not an opinion. It is a fact. We are plagued by a rush of judgment where someone even steps into a courtroom.
Okay. Now, I understand. I've been part of highly publicized cases.
We have championed that exact same expression before. Both of us have. And it's true.
Here's what happens. The reality is this, behind this. You are part of a celebrity trial or a big famous trial. It doesn't go away. You're always attached to that unless you achieve something greater or more infamous. Like let's say she killed another person. She's always going to be this person. The media has decided she made her bed in this situation, which is sad. But
I think it's unfair to say that the media decided. I think she decided that. She did something.
Come on. Cute girl kills a kid in California. Hold on. That's not fair. In Florida, weird stuff is huge here because it doesn't happen a lot. But they make it sound like Florida is the craziest place in the world.
Florida, man.
California, mothers kill their babies all the time there. Happens all the time. White women kill somebody. Yeah, it happens all the time. But in Orlando, wait, whoa.
Well,
so she just killed her child in the wrong place.
Well, yeah.
Or was responsible for the death
in the wrong place. Irresponsible in the wrong place.
I don't want to say she killed her kid. I think her actions led to the death of that child. Lack of supervision or intentional, we don't know, because she's never told us. She gets up there. She lied about a lot of things. She lied in that case like it was every time they questioned her, there were lies. So then her father has an issue. He might have been involved. And my opinion on that was always the same. I studied that trial. My opinion was she was going to get off while everybody else was, oh, no, they're going to BS. We know the law well enough that they couldn't find premeditated murder. We knew that. Every lawyer knew that. Only the ones on TV who wanted to talk forever didn't know.
A lot of them even said, oh, we don't know how this got this far.
You are responsible for the death of your child, and we know that. Will we forgive you? This isn't an apology. This is, hey, you don't understand what I've gone through.
This is hey, everybody, we have this system where I was found not guilty, so now you have to treat me the right way. You're not allowed to dislike me anymore. I went through the system. That's not true, Casey. That's not true. We are allowed to not like you. We can even not like you for unfair reasons. I think we got pretty good reasons this time around, though. But you're not entitled to the adoration of your fellow citizens. You're not in prison. The system worked in that you're not in prison. As far as I'm concerned,
she's in prison.
The fact that you are not adored. Oh, there we go.
She's in prison.
She
can't walk down the street. There's always going to be somebody. I guarantee at least probably 10 lunatics in Florida would kill her if they saw her. Would just kill her.
Why not just come out and tell us what happened? The only chance you have of getting anybody on your side.
Nobody's on her side. She's never going to tell.
If she said, hey, I was irresponsible, I drank too much,
I lied about my father in court,
I passed out and my kid fell in the pool. Okay, now maybe we can start to maybe think about forgiving you if you are asking for forgiveness for what you did. You haven't done that yet. Until you do that, until you say, hey, I am asking for forgiveness, you just expect people to forgive you because there's a not guilty verdict? That's not how life works.
Okay. The accepting responsibility, no, it doesn't work either. Ask Pete Rose how that worked for him. Major League Baseball said, hey, come clean, man. Just come clean and it'll be okay. Just come clean. And lifetime ban.
Oh, he bet on his own team to win.
But they told him.
I don't understand how that's a problem.
You and I both know it's
I don't understand how that's a problem. I don't know how we got to Pete Rose, but if Pete Rose is on the box, let's talk about him. I love Pete Rose. He got just absolutely bent over by the Major League Baseball. Yeah, he bet on his own team to win. Don't you want the players on your team to bet that they're going to? Don't you want them to think, yeah, we're going to win?
He bet on his team to lose.
No. Stop. Never.
He did.
No.
You know why?
I'll never believe it.
Oh, and worse than that.
Worse than
that. What his bets were this?
He wasn't playing?
He bet so much. He bet so much that the bookies knew when he didn't bet on his team that they were going to lose.
That's not fair. That's not on him. That's not on him.
He had done so much.
If he had bet on his team to win every single time, but like 4, and then people just extrapolated what that meant, that doesn't mean that he was betting on his team to lose.
Hey, relax,
It's
Pelosi.
one thing to not bet on your team to win. It is completely different to bet on your team losing. He actually bet on his team losing. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
That's the Pelosi argument. I just happen to be lucky on all my stock picks. Yeah, no, it doesn't work. It's unfair. It's not right. You can't bet on something that you actually have.
Yeah, but Pete Rose can go out in
public. You know the Super Bowl? This dude bet that there'd be a streaker on the field. He was the streaker. He didn't get paid.
Yeah, there probably has to be some kind of exception to.
Yeah. Now, Casey, I really wish you a peaceful existence.
No. Why would you do that? Why would you wish her a peaceful existence?
I do. But I don't want to see you. I don't want to be reminded of this tragic thing. Yes. You were released and everything is great.
You are the price that we all pay for people who are innocent to stay that way. You're it. You're the poster child. We tolerate you, Casey Anthony, because you and people like you are necessary for us to have the system we have in place, which almost guarantees that you're not going to go to prison if you're actually innocent. Doesn't work all the time, but it's the best anyone has ever come up with up to this point. But you constantly remind us.
We got a great system.
You constantly remind us you are the price. We tolerate you. We put up with this. We don't mob you and kill you when we see you in public, because that's what we have to do to tolerate when Jeff or I get arrested, we got a pretty good shot, if we're innocent, of not being convicted.
You've seen what happens when they want to go after you. They just spend a ridiculous amount of money to go after you. You know, a lot of people don't know about lawfare and everything else like that. I've been involved in a case that dealt with lawfare. They spent millions to go after some nobody to shut down a business that was affecting people who contributed to their campaigns. I mean, that's just the way it works sometimes. Now, Casey, I guess the point was you're going, well, I can do good in this world. All right, work in a food kitchen. Do good stuff. You getting out there.
Work in a food kitchen. Oh, you mean a charity?
Yeah.
Like
do good stuff. Run 5Ks. Do this.
Don't run 5Ks with anybody. Don't do that. Go dedicate yourself to serving the homeless. Go be a missionary.
I just don't like the idea of this pseudo celebrity status because of a terrible thing in your life. You're going to go, well, I'm going to teach people. Nobody's going to learn from you. You are not the poster child for the American justice system.
You're not in a position to lecture anybody. You're not in a position to teach anyone. Just go away.
And that's what she's done for the last 15, 20 years. I mean, she's worked for I think she was worked for a private investigator. I think she did that stuff. But to come out, listen, if you're going to make money off OnlyFans, go ahead. Do what you want to do. But the idea that you're going to lecture anybody is a mistake because guess what? We don't forgive. We don't forgive when it comes to kids and animals. Just don't. Look at Michael Vick. Michael Vick goes, I grew up with it. Nobody ever forgave him. Yeah. There are people out there who still, when they say his name.
He would comment on some of the rough tackles he would get, how the refs would not call roughing the passer because it was him. Oh, any other quarterback would have gotten a roughing the passer call, but not me because of my past. And the refs shouldn't be like that. And everybody is looking at him going, yeah, actually, we're okay with it.
They didn't get you for tax evasion. They prosecuted you for the death of your child. And nobody is going to ever separate that. Now, the best way to do it, like I said, live your life, do what you need to do. But the minute you pop into the public eye, they're going to know you for your bad stuff, not your good stuff.
Who do we got coming up next, Jeff?
We got Brandon T. Jackson from Percy Jackson and Tropic Thunder. I love this guy. Our guest today is Brandon T. Jackson. You might know him as an actor, stand-up comedian from Percy Jackson, Tropic Thunder, Big Mama's House 2, and he's actually got a new project, The Family Business New Orleans. How you doing, Brandon?
I am great, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm sorry. I know you're back dealing with the fires in California.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm so sad. All these families lost their houses, and I mean, now is at the point where the air quality is just horrible. I mean, it's bad, bro. And so I'm just we trucking through. We had to cancel our premiere. I'm still happy we got the press still going on with some of the things we're doing because I mean now we're kind of just sitting around. A lot of things got canceled, so we're just a lot of people are standing in solidarity for a lot of executives lost their house, a lot of actors lost their houses, a lot of people in the industry lost their houses. So it's like to go back and do a lot of stuff. Everyone's kind of standing still and trying to, regroup and let the dust settle. No pun intended, but really let the dust settle and then trying to figure out, where do we go from here? And it's bad.
Now you wrap a show like the one you just did, which was I believe was a follow-up to another show, Family Business, which ran for 5 seasons. What's it like following up a show that has such a history?
Well, Family Business is still running, and now they're spinning off hours because, I mean, like I did with Percy Jackson, this is a book series originally. I mean, it's like, I didn't even know it until I started getting into all the books. It's like another, it's like a cult following like Twilight. It's this underground, Carl Weber is a New York Times bestseller. And I mean, he's been having these books out for almost 20 years. And there's a following on these books that's been going around. And when you get into the books, stories are literally the books and the TV shows are all seamless in one family. So there's this cult following. So it's really cool to see the main one that's going on season 6. Now we're going on Family Business season 2. We're season 1 now, but we'll be going into season 2. And how everyone is really following these stories of these characters. It's a cult following, man. You can't even, bro. It's a lot.
Now, like Now, like Percy's, it's a book series, so you have some super fans who are really into it. I mean, have you had to deal with some of that yet?
Yeah, there are some super fans with this. It's really, it's like a lot of female base, a lot of females. They know the books like the back of their hands. If you really get into the Carl Weber universe, we call it the Weberverse. It really reaches out to the female base, and they get really attached to these characters all around. So
now, did you shoot this in New Orleans?
yeah, we shot this in New Orleans, definitely. Yep, we wanted to give the city that vibe of I mean the show we couldn't fake. You can't fake the vibe of New Orleans. You just can't. You got to be there. So it was one of those things where we wanted to really make sure that the city was a character too. Kind of like Miami, you know, if you look at Bad Boys, Miami is a character.
Now, the hard thing I think for actors is it's a nomadic life kind of. You got a family, and then they say, okay, for 2-3 months, you're going to head here. You don't know where you're living. You don't know where you're staying. You don't know where you're getting your groceries. I mean, how long does it take for you to get your bearings when you do that?
My wife loves it. I'm out the house. You know, it's just I've been doing this for 20 years. So I mean, I would have it no other way. If I was in construction or, you know, even business or real estate or certain other things, I would be traveling anyway. So I think that my whole life and career is going to be around traveling anyways. So whether it's stand-up comedy, you know, real estate business, traveling is something that, yeah, something that I love to do anyway. So the nomadic lifestyle is, I wouldn't have it. I'm ready to get out of California, to be honest, right now. So I wouldn't have it no other way. You know, it's really, I like to move around. I've always been like that.
It's a tough time there now, but as a fellow stand-up, I can tell you, you know, when you know, people always ask you, oh, well, how can stand-ups become actors? I said, listen, when you're on that stage alone and things are blowing up around you, you get pretty good at figuring things out.
You know what? Stand-ups are usually some of the best actors. I mean, it's stage plays. It's a one-man show. You know, if you're doing it right, it's a one-man show. It's you and that audience, and you're writing. And shout out to my comedy special that's gonna be coming out next. Since you're a comedian, it's called Chest Out. We're looking at some nice platforms that I think is going to be. We probably can circle back and go ahead and hopefully get the right place to put it. I independently shot it. It was looking like it's going to go to the right places. So it's a blessing.
Now, I've talked to a lot of stand-ups, and it's pretty cool to be able to do that because, you know, I love to see fellow stand-ups, you know, take off and go where they need to go. You know, I always wonder when we talk about this stuff when they say it's my new hour special. And I know it takes a long time to put the material together, and you got to work it out and you got to test it. How long did you test drive it before you go, okay, now it's ready for the special?
This one was cooking in the oven for 7 years, and I just said, you know what? But some of the material was new and some of it was old. The training of building material was 14 years in the making, and the 7 years where I really went hard on my stand-up game was 7 years in the making. So what I would say is, like, they say this certain material, I actually wrote it. I didn't get a chance to tour it like I wanted to, but because I was so skilled at knowing how to execute it because of my role, it's like it was almost like I had all this other material that I was doing that prepared me, and then when it was time to create like this other, the bulk of what my story was how I left on a break from Hollywood, went on a spiritual journey, ended up into I would say into a cult leader. Not me, but I ended up with the cult leader, and I kind of making fun of that story that happened to me in real life. I was able to deal with it and the trauma and with comedy. So it's a very strong story about how I left Hollywood to go find a spiritual awakening and spiritual journey, and then how it kind of turned to this crazy thing that I got caught up into. So you know, it's really funny, and I couldn't have wrote it. God wrote that story. Couldn't have wrote it.
You know, it's amazing how stand-up's right. You know, we take the worst things in our lives and go forward. I mean, I remember Richard Pryor's bit on setting himself on fire. And, you know, it's so painful, but it's hysterical at the same time. because it's absurd. You're going, you can't imagine Richard Pryor running down the street on fire, but that's just the way that works sometimes. So.
But then when you, it's not funny, but when he says it back, you're like that was crazy, So everything, the things we go through, that it makes our material for us. And I don't encourage anybody to that's the thing about living life and finding art in the stand-up world. Those first two usually are the best because you go through so much.
Now you have a history, you come from a family of pastors, and you go on this spiritual journey, and you wind up with, I don't know anything about this. It's the first time I've heard of it. You wind up...
Akmak Badak is what I call them in the special. Akmak Badak, the spiritual leader.
And I'm sure your family's like going, what's going on with this? This can't be right. I mean, how do you, when you're going through it, it seems normal. And when you're out, do you have that discussion with your family and say, listen, I just got lost. I mean, I can't explain it.
I had to put it in comedy form. There's no explaining it. You want to explain it? Watch this on this platform. Hopefully Netflix. I mean, I don't want to show any other platforms, but I think Netflix is definitely Netflix special.
I know. I think it's always Netflix or Amazon is where you got to go with these.
Yeah, I mean the quality and the quality of the material. I had a very famous director and family actually gave me the thumbs up.
Well, let me ask you, because I'm also an attorney. I got to do a lot of cool things on top of hosting the show and everything. And I guess I always wonder about these long-term contracts. You sign up, they go, hey, listen, you get Percy Jackson, but you're going to have, it's a 3-movie contract. It's this long, and you have to be available, and there's no guarantee it's going to be made. I mean, what's it like going through that, hoping they make the third one or something like that?
Just do other stuff because they don't hold you up like that. It's called first position, second position. They don't hold you where you can't do it. The way the contracts work is if something else come up, then if they're not shooting, then you're able to shoot something else. Excuse me. It's called first position, second position. So at that time, Percy Jackson had first position. So, yeah. And I forgot how they did it, but Fox will have a thing where it's like, okay, if we're doing Big Mamas, you can't do the lawyers, they handle all that. So you just know you got work. It means like having a big series, but you just scheduled out, you know what I mean? To do it whenever they say they're ready to do another one.
Well, I know actors have teams. They have managers, agents, lawyers. I mean, does somebody tell you at the end of it, all right, let me explain what you're signing here, or did they go just sign and we'll explain it to you later?
No, they don't explain it at all. And they give you the contract at the last minute and go, sign. I'm like, bro, I got to read this. They do skim over it. I can't lie. No, my bad. Going back, they do skim over it, and they say it's good to sign. But I'm like, most of these contracts are standard and the industry. So what I do, I kind of study the standard contracts and see what everything it says. Talent contracts.
One of the questions I always wonder is when you get a tour with a high-end comic, do you get something from it? I mean, you have to feel like, oh, yeah, I liked watching his rhythm. I mean, you were at the Laugh Factory. You've seen a lot of great comedians. Which comedian do you think you watch and you go, man, that guy's got it. I wish I could be like that.
I studied Eddie and Richard, and no one's really doing that style anymore. Because you got to have the crowd got to have an attention span for that. And I think that Martin, Eddie, Richard, it's a dying style. Because now if you look at Andrew Schultz, he's kind of a riffer. And you look at, some other comics is just doing crowd work. I don't see anybody doing that style. Even Cat Williams, as hilarious as he is, he's not doing that style. Kevin Hart was actually the only one doing that style. And it's a tough style to do in this time. Because, and when I say style, I say storytelling act outs is not being, like even Tony Baker. Tony Baker's so hilarious. Love watching him. I'm trying to think of all the comedians that I look at and go, yo, they're hilarious. No one's doing that style. That's a tough style to do. So I don't see anybody to me right now in my generation right now as we speak that's doing that style and that can touch me in that style. Now when you talk about punch acting, I mean punch comics. Oh, I got it. Like I mean, punch comics. I know a bunch of them that can kill me punching. You know, with punchlines. Yeah, that I can look at and say yeah. Like Cat Williams, the beast punch comic. He has the right lines to say. I'm not a punch comic. I'm an actor, comedian, which I act out the actual scenes on stage like Richard would do. You know, he was acting on stage. If you really go watch Richard back, you know, when he did the dog, he did the when the dog would say, you know, him and the dog in the fence. I mean, you know, she's doing a character. She's doing two characters. No one's doing that style. And that's why I love that style so much because it's so rare now. And only people don't even understand how rare that style is.
Yeah, people don't realize how hard it is to do that. Anybody can do, I'm not saying anybody, but you can do a 3 to 5 minute bit. But when you hit 10, 20, you know, that's when this is like, you know, you're doing a serious show.
Yeah, I got one bit that's my last bit talking about, it's about 10 minutes and one story with different characters. Like I'm popping into characters. I pop into like probably 10 different characters in that. That's what I'm saying. No one's doing that. Kevin Hart was the last one to do that type of style.
I saw Marlon Wayans, and I got to interview him the other day, and he did a bit that lasted
actually,
30 minutes.
Marlon is doing that type of style. Actually, Marlon is too.
Yeah, 30 minutes he went off on one bit. And I was like, man, he held the audience for 30 minutes. And I talked to him afterwards. And I was going, man, that's hard. He goes, yeah, I know. I had to decide if I wanted to go that far. And the risks you take on stage and the bits you do. I mean, when you're trying to figure this out, that's why when I asked you originally about how long it takes you to put a set together, I mean, you can love something and realize it's not hitting.
Mm-hmm. For me, how long does it take? It takes me about I mean, I can't say because it's the more I've toured, the more I know what I have a pulse on what I feel like. Like I was doing all this stuff about a lot of ranting on how I feel about things, and it's good. But then I started talking about trauma, and I was like, oh, this is better. When I started talking about like I'm working on a bit now. Because I don't like when people. I have people that are judgment. I'm a Pisces, so you know we're very sensitive to certain things, and I've had people judgmental on me in certain aspects of my life, and they're doing the same thing I'm doing while they're judging me on it. Like sometimes I'll have a drink, and someone's like, you shouldn't drink because such and such, but they're having a drink with me while I'm drinking. And the hypocrisy of it for me, I was watching, like I had these conversations because comics, we're in the club, we're having a good time, we chilling, and working on this bit, give me the wine but not the spirits. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the name of it. So, I have 3 different spirits that comes to you after you get a little tipsy, and then right now I'm still working on it. Like, you got it's just like the spirit of a guy, you get a little tipsy, one spirit to tell you, hey, go hit that guy real quick. No, it's okay. Don't worry. And I was like, so these are characters that you're hopping in 3 different people. I've been working on it. I just thought about it 2 days ago. I'm like, okay, let me jot that down. Then I'll go try it. If it works, cool. Then I'll expand on it, but that's a running tree.
Yeah, that's harder than people don't realize how hard it is when you're doing like 2, 3 characters at the same time, maybe 4, and trying to differentiate and make sure it's funny. So yeah, I get how hard that is. Yeah,
I'll keep it to 3 spirits with that one. Probably the one that's like, the sexual guy, the angry drunk, and there's probably one other drunk, the sloppy drunk or something like that. You know.
Well, Brandon, I can't tell you how cool this was. I'm looking forward to seeing your show, and stay safe and try to breathe better. I know things are tough in California.
Yeah, it's horrible, bro. Actually, I'm literally feeling it right now. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I should turn this ventilation off because it's coming through the vents. But yeah, it's bad, bro.
All right.
It's bad.
Well, you take care, my friend. Look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you so much. You too.
Well, that wraps up today's show. I'm attorney Jeff Kaufman. Thanks for joining us. Special thanks to my two co-hosts, my good friend, professional comedian James John, and my law partner, Craig Lind. This show is sponsored by Kaufman Lind. If you or someone you know has been in an accident, contact us at 407-500-JEFF or 407-500-5333 for a free consultation, or visit us at whenyouneedus.com.